Getting the best out of your 300 series. So a 300 series update for J-Max. To give you some idea on, I suppose, what we've experienced this year, what we're seeing, the customer feedback that we're seeing, the customer inquiry, and people's assumption on the 300 series, I suppose, from our perspective. So I'll start right at the beginning with the 300 series wagon. So this year, what we've potentially seen a lot of is guys, especially on social media, going, hey, I've got a 300 series, I want the bigger GVM, but you know, some of these kits, the ride quality's poor, the car's harsh, and guys, they're going, yeah, well, you can't have a GVM and you can't have comfort as well, or you just have to suck it up. Well, the reality of it is you spend over 100 grand on a car, you don't need to suck it up on a GVM upgrade and have suspension that's stiff and horrible to drive in when you're not loaded. And the problem is, like the majority of people, they're not on the road traveling full time with a constant load. They often use this car as a daily car every day. So most days they're not loaded. You know, some might have a fridge and a set of drawers or whatever, but they're not towing. So why would you buy cheap suspension and sacrifice your ride quality on a $100,000 plus car for a GVM upgrade? I test anybody to go to a J-Max facility that has a 300 series car to test drive before you consider a GVM, and go and take it for a test drive and drive it. You do not need to sacrifice the quality of your ride, even with a GVM up to 4.2 tonne. The other one that we're seeing all the time come in is a 4.2 tonne GVM done on the OE diff with a re-rated axle rating on paper by companies, and they can't load and tow because they don't have enough axle load. We've done a video, and you can go back in our YouTube series on our 300 series and have a look at our loading video that we did. To get to 4.2 tonne, you need 2,600 kilos bare minimum of rear axle load. So 2,500 kilos overrating the OE diff does not cut it. It does not work. Same principle applies with the 70 series. So if you want a true 4.2 tonne GVM, GCM, with the tow capacity, you need that 2,800 kilos. If you've got a dual cab variant, you need that 2,800 kilos. 24 to 2,500 kilos does not even come there. I don't even know how people get to a GCM figure of a raised GCM without enough axle load. It does not make sense. So look at that suspension quality, look at that availability of axle load before you go down that GVM path. The other side of it is you might only want suspension. So if you want suspension, J-Max can do suspension. You come back to us at a later date. Hey, I'd like to do a GVM. You can utilize that suspension. Even if it's got 50,000 Ks on it, we can tune and service those shock absorbers, and you can utilize them in the GVM upgrade. No need to start from scratch. If you go for a 3,900 GVM on a wagon as an example, and you come back to us in a year's time and you want to go to 42, no problems. Add the extra componentry, service your shocks, and off you go. So using that car to the best of its ability, you've spent a lot of money to modify it or add accessories to it. Don't shorten its life by not doing the right suspension kit. So from a J-Max perspective, we now have full 4-tonne approved testing. We're just going through the documentations and finalising the paperwork side of it. We have tested these cars as a wagon with a 4-tonne tow. So not only as an SSM, and here's the problem. So the state governments across Australia look at an SSM and say the SSM company can assume additional risk, reducing the safety factors of that car, accepting additional risk to do pre-rego GVM and GCM and brake tow upgrades. At J-Max, we don't assume risk. So the Queensland State Government particularly has designated a set of rules that's been legally approved and certified by them for GCM. J-Max now have complete GCM testing for 300s, 200s, 70s. We're moving through multiple vehicles at the moment. Some of those, the 200 series is already on, is going. States like WA and all of that are also accepting it and working. We're just working through the documents with them. Other states are also accepting it. So the problem is, pre-rego, companies don't need to provide any evidence. They can just say, oh, it's part of our SSM. Post-rego, you need to tick boxes, you need to not take risks, and you need to make sure safety is paramount. JMAX tick all those boxes. So moving forward, you're going to see GCM approvals for 300s, 270s post-rego. We're already starting on that. The 4-tonne tow, 200 series wagon, 300 series wagon. Testing and evidence is done and complete. Final documentation will be complete very, very shortly in the next couple of weeks. And we're starting to roll all of that out. Yes, there will be a modification to the tow system. Under the state government legislation, you cannot just re-rate a tow system. Under SSM, they can do whatever they want and assume the risk. Under the post-rego rules, you must comply to the National Code of Practice, which is what we do. The other side of it, in January, we just took over ownership of our additional factory for the dual cab conversions on the 300 and 200 series. So JMAX now are the owner of the AEV system, which we worked with AEV to help to develop. We'll be doing 200 and 300 series chops, 4495 GVMs, 4.5 tonne tow. The big kicker for those guys is we also have GCM testing approved for post-registration. The other one is obviously a lot of our 300s, 3 inches, 35s, ESC testing, which is 88 testing, GCM testing, all of that evidence is we carry that. So moving into 2025, if you've got a 300 and you're interested in doing any modification to it, reach out to JMAX and we can walk you through it.